Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy. Introducing Nichol Kessinger, the infamous mistress of Chris Watts, also known. Sorry, I forgot to silence myself. Okay, let me just start over with my introduction. And I've got my. Hold on a second, you guys. I've got something open where I hear myself. Okay, I think I fixed it. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy, introducing Nichol Kessinger, the infamous mistress of Chris Watts, also known as his very own Jezebel. Yes, that's right. Even Chris Watts himself labeled her as such. However, we mustn't overlook the charming phrase sexy empanada that also originated from the horse's mouth, Chris Watts. Charming horse's ass he is, if you ever thought a horse's backside could be charming. Tonight, I want to revisit one of my most popular broadcasts from about a year ago. We delve deep into NK's life post Watts's scandal slash tragedy. So tonight, let's take a peek into what NK has been up to lately, from alleged sightings to questionable interviews to possibly penning letters to Chris in prison. So join me as we venture over to Watts Island for a juicy deep dive into the life of the one and only mistress that nobody likes, post-tragedy Nichol Kessinger, on this episode of Parawomenradio. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the Watts Island replay crew to, or the Watts Island crew to roll in. I'm going to do a special shout out to my Watts Island replay crew and to my dragonflies. Are you happy to be back over on Watts Island, my loves?
Devil is drumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Hearing the essence of gratitude, I am so happy to be back with my Watts Island crew. I've missed you guys. Where have you been? You're probably saying, where have I been? I know I've been promising this Watts content where we're going to delve deep into, did Chris Watts abuse the girls and Shanann prior to the schmurders, but that's taking more time than I expected. And today a video popped up where we went and we did a deep dive on Nichol Kessinger and where she is today and what she did after the schmurders. But the baby bird was awake during that interview, during that live. And when the baby bird is awake, he lets his presence be known. And I know that bothers some people. And it was doing really well. So I wanted to kind of redo it. And plus it was a year ago that we did it. So I want to kind of redo it, kind of look at where she is, what she did post Watts, the interview she gave to the Denver Post, look at, is she writing to Chris Watts? There's some video, or not video, some photos that have popped up here and there of, could this possibly be Nichol Kessinger? So we're going to do all that. So if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's really, really appreciated. Today, we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And Twitch is probably saying, where have you been? Because I haven't been throwing it over to Twitch that much. We are going to start going over to TikTok this week. We got approved, so we're going to try it again over on TikTok. So we'll probably be going to YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. But today we're Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So hi, everyone. Hello, Licia. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you. Dave, hello. She is guilty. That is why she disappeared, and she has disappeared. There's been some sightings, supposed sightings of her here and there, and we're going to take a quick peek at it tonight. But yes, she has definitely gone off the radar. So if you're interested, this is the live that I am speaking of. When I saw it, it was like a 3-hour and 42-minute live, and I was like, woo! What did we do during that live? But I like to add things into the live. So after we took a look at where she was, then we went into and looked at, it was right around the time where the updated interrogation video, where, you know, originally it had just come out, one of her interrogations, I think it was her second one, only came out as audio, but it came out as audio video. So we took a peek at that. And I did notice too that we have gotten like nearly 450 new subscribers in the last 28 days. And I know a lot of that's over on YouTube. And I know a lot of it is people that are coming over because we've been covering Sarah Boone for quite some time now. And Sarah Boone content is just really picking up steam. And so we've gotten a lot of new Sarah Boone people. So it just dawned on me, like, maybe you don't even know who Chris Watts is. Like, that kind of dawned on me. So I just wanted to give you a quick, rundown on the Watts case. It happened in August 13th, 2018 in Frederick, Colorado. Christopher Lee Watts murdered his pregnant wife, Shanann, by putting his hands around her throat. And their two children, Bella, well, this is his story. There's a few stories, but this is the widely known story. He did it also to his little girls, Bella and Celeste. And then he buried Shanann at the oil fields that he worked at and put the two girls' bodies in the oil tanks. The person we're talking about tonight is Nichol Kessinger, and she was the mistress in this whole mess. And for whatever reason, she was never charged, but many of us believe that she was heavily involved in it. And so we are talking about her behavior after the murders. So that's just a quick little rundown on who we're talking about tonight. Okay. So, and I put everything that we view down in my YouTube show notes. I will often not show everything in its entirety, stop, start, talk over it. I do this for fair play use, but I also do it to cite my sources. And I also do it because I know sometimes people don't want me to be talking over it, or they want to use it for their own sources. So I just do that for you guys. And it's in the YouTube show notes / down in the description. So over on Reddit, let me pop over into chat. I see more of you are coming in. Only guilty people hide. She's 100% guilty. I know, 100%. It's just, ugh. Oh, hi, Laura Lynn. I love you too. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for being a mod too. And Thank you. You are always gifting those Dragonfly memberships, and it's really, really appreciated. The Dragonfly is the membership program that we have going over on YouTube. I release all of my videos generally early to it's very rare that I don't, and I usually release it from like an hour to a few days early for my Dragonflies. I do videos and lives for my Dragonflies that are membership only. And I do shout outs. We do Dragonfly of the month, although I haven't picked one for this month, so I guess I won't do one for this month. But and when we have merch, it will be discounted. So yeah, it's just a way for you to support me and for me to give you extra content. And anything that you do is really, really appreciated. We also have quite a few new Dragonflies this month too. So welcome to all the new Dragonflies. Hi, Angel Kennedy. I'm not really sure who Eve is, but hi. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so let's get back into this. Why isn't it? Hold on. Hold on. I need to stop sharing and then reshare my screen because it's not sharing properly. Okay. There we go. So over on, hi Sizzle. Oh, everyone. Okay. I'm like, Eve, that's interesting. Everyone. Gotcha. All right. So over on Reddit, this was when I originally got the original idea for this, and people said, anyone have any new ideas of where Nichol Kessinger is? And so people started talking about it. Her interviews with police were highly annoying, which they were. I mean, she literally stared down the camera. And if you ever watch the behavioral panel, they mention people that stare down the camera. That's a thing. That's a psychotic thing that people do. So this person said, last I heard, she had applied to change her name. I know she applied in Colorado, but she was rumored to be living out of state. An inmate at the same prison where CW is claims she was writing to him in late 2020, but especially given that we only have the word of an inmate who only has the word of known chronic liar, CW, I'm kind of skeptical about that, which, I mean, good point. All good points. I figure she probably dyed her hair, etc. Her face is fairly, she's not unattractive, but she wouldn't really stand out in a crowd. Those are points too. I generally don't believe she had anything to do with the Schmurders. Now that I don't know because I go back and forth with it. Most days I'm at like, how could she not have been involved? But then we'll get into it. So I mostly hope she can just go on with her life. She made some bad choices. She clearly knew he was married. She likely knew Shanann was pregnant because she Googled her name several times and Shanann's Facebook was 100% open. And she was also Googling questions about married men leaving their wives. So I think she did know this man was married and actively wanted him to leave his wife for her. Also, she certainly was not the best of in the immediate aftermath, Googling Amber Fry's book deal and net worth information immediately after, you clearly begin to suspect this guy unalived his family is not great. Still, I really don't think she had any way of knowing he was violent, and not everyone responds beautifully in chaotic situations, which, I mean, this is important to note too. Not everyone responds beautifully in chaotic situations. In fact, I don't think anyone responds beautifully in chaotic situations. And most people don't respond the way that you think that you would respond. So, and a lot of us put common sense into our response when things are happening. Usually all common sense is out the door. But I mean, common sense says, how could she not have known? too. I mean, isn't there that common sense? What do you guys think? Um, I just think I used to be where like I was like pretty sure that she didn't do it, and then I started moving down like half and half, and then I was like 80, 30, 90, 10, I don't know, or 80, 30, 80, 20. So I still go back and forth because I guess I just don't want to believe that I live in a world where Nichol Kessinger is out free and she did stuff like that, because I have a real sense of justice. I know you guys do too, have a real sense of right and wrong and justice, because most people that are into true crime have that real need for justice. We just want it. We don't care how you get it. We just want it. No, we do care how, but basically we want justice. And when you don't get justice, it just puts a little bug up our ass, and it's hard to let it go. Let's see what the people are saying. Had never heard about her Google searches, just went on a rabbit hole, and they were pretty disturbing. She frequently checked Shanann's Facebook, which had public posts showing she was pregnant and no signs of divorce, yet she claims she didn't know Shanann was pregnant. How can she reconcile those two items? And how can we? She was lying. She knew Shanann was pregnant. She panicked because her married lover had just unalived his whole family. I mean, at the very least, she knew she was influencing him to do something evil, right? Can we all agree that at the very least, she knew she was influencing an unhinged man? Because she did say things like she watched He Never Slept. He was becoming more and more unhinged. Right? Like his cheese slid off his cracker. I believe that was one of her sayings. Hold on, I gotta take a drink of water. It's really cold in Florida, so it's messing with my sinuses. Constant drainage. The other day I needed to sneeze and I couldn't get the sneeze out, so it just kind of sat there and tickled my nose the whole time, and now I've got this tickle in my throat. She was lying to 2109 says. There's no other way around it. She was just lying. Now, while I do not recommend lying to the cops in a murder investigation, I also think she did probably panic. She tried to delete everything off of her phone in one go. I want to be completely transparent, but because I was just so over him, I suspected he did something to his family, but I was so over him, I just deleted it all. Yes, that's what I did. I mean, these are the crazy things that make me go, nah, she did something. She was part of it. I don't give her quite as much credit for going to the police as I do Amber Fry, because I think NK knew that she couldn't delete herself from CW's phone, and it was only a matter of time before the police found out about her. Indeed, the company they both worked for searched his work emails and had notified the police of a potential affair already. I think her actions were pretty much entirely self-motivated. I do not think her concern for Shanann was genuine. It didn't even sound genuine. It sounded like she was worried about what Shanann increasingly obvious murder was going to mean in her life, but she thought she was getting this guy to leave his wife, and instead he brutally unalived his whole family. It's tough to get out of the situation gracefully. So, I mean, this was 2 years ago. I will say that I have noticed that the tides have changed. And I can't really even, because the thread comment has been closed. So the tides have changed. And many do believe that she had a good part in this. So let's keep going. Heading over onto the World Wide Web, the latest on Nichol Kessinger's life after Chris Watts. This is a pretty recent one. This is January 10th, 2025. So I thought it would be worth looking at. In fact, I really loved the title, so I just took that old title and put it right up there because I was like, what? That caught my attention. And I'm sure that the title to this live caught your attention because it's like very interesting. What is she up to? What is she doing? So let's take a look at it. Who is Nichol Kessinger now? Nichol Kessinger is a woman who became known for her involvement with Chris Watts, a man who murdered his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their two children, Bella and Celeste, in August 2018. Kessinger was having an affair with Watts at the time of the murders. She has since been interviewed by police and has given her account of what happened. Kessinger has not been charged with any crime in connection with the murders. However, she has been criticized for her role in the events leading up to them. And this is all my research, my opinion, for entertainment and educational purposes only. So when I say I believe she was a part of it, this is just my opinion. It's not fact. This is not fact-based. This is my opinion because legally she has been cleared. So, and she's not even a suspect in the police. The police say she's not a suspect. So Kessinger has not been charged with any crime in connection with the murders. Some people believe that Kessinger should have done more to stop Watts from carrying out his plans. Others believe that she was simply a victim of Watts's manipulation. Now, I don't believe that for a second. I believe that she was just another woman who was going to manipulate Chris and was manipulating Chris. She was just a little bit better at it. She was better at it because she made Chris think that he was being heard, and she made Chris think that the decisions he was making were his choices. She was just better at the deception than Shanann or his mom ever were, but she was just as controlling as his mother and Shanann. And, you know, Shanann, I think was a wonderful person, but she was a control freak. She was controlling. She had her issues, but didn't deserve to be unalived in any sense of the way. I believe she was a pretty great person. And in fact, I just saw her mom just did a live tonight. Sandy and Frank, I think Frankie was with her in the chat. And they've been really, really sick. And she talked about grief, how grief will really do a number on you, she says. And yeah, grief will really do a number on you. It will make you sick physically, mentally, spiritually. She said she was so sick that she felt like she felt their presence in her home. And I guess Frank got really, oops, I just dropped my mouse. I guess Frank got really sick too. So hold on a second. I got to grab my mouse. Anyway, I believe that NK was just another woman that was going to manipulate Chris to her will and to her ways. I think she was there when Shanann got home. I think she was ambushed. I haven't really quite figured out where I think she was in it all. I'm kind of thinking she was in the home because I'm believing that something happened in the basement with at least Cece. And I think that Chris didn't do harm to the girls. I think it was her that did it. But there's this thing that sticks in my craw on one of our lives that we did where somebody said that, Dylan said that after he did what he did to his family, he met NK on the way home. Now, why would he meet NK on the way home if she was there with him? So that's what I just, I got to kind of get it around my head and decide what I want to believe on that. Because that's really, we just all have to decide what we're going to believe, because nobody truly knows. I don't care what you say. You don't truly know. We can just put it together and get as close as we think we know. And that's why I'm always happy to hear other opinions. And I'm always happy if we have different opinions. You don't have to believe what I believe. And I certainly won't believe what you believe if I don't believe what you believe. So it doesn't matter what you say to me. I've got this strong crawl like mind that like I believe what I believe, and I believe everybody should be allowed to do that, to have that and their views to be heard and respected. So, and I hope I do that here. So Kessinger has not been charged with any crime. Kessinger has said that she is deeply sorry for the pain that she has caused the Watts family. She also said that she is committed to cooperating with law enforcement in their investigation. The murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts were a tragedy. Kessinger's involvement in the events leading up to them is a complex and controversial issue. So, personal details, Nichol Kessinger. Well, I mean, she's not 30. Was she 30 at the? I don't even think she was 30 at the time of the murders. Wasn't she like 32? Because I think Chris was 34 and wasn't Shanann 36? I don't know. I don't know the date. I don't know her age, to be honest, actually. Does anyone know that? Let me see. If I can get the date. She's on IMDb. I don't know. I'm not finding her birthday, but I guess that's another thing that I'm like hung up on. But I really didn't think she was only 30 years old. I thought she was slightly older. Anyway, okay, so let's keep going. Age, occupation, oil field worker, hometown, Frederick, Colorado. Her hometown wasn't, she didn't live in Frederick, she didn't live in Frederick. Anyway, the main article topic, okay, Nichol Kessinger now. Nichol Kessinger is a woman who became known for her involvement with Chris Watts, a man who unalived his pregnant wife. Okay, Kessinger was having an affair. We already know that. She has been interviewed by, okay, Kessinger has not been charged. Okay. All right. I don't know. The affair between Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger is a central aspect of the case. This is also, I think, chat AI generated, because the affair between Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger is a central aspect of the case surrounding the murders. I mean, that is very AI chat GBT right there. What in the chat GBT have we gotten ourselves into, you guys? This affair had a significant impact on the events leading up to the murders. Watt's relationship with Kessinger caused him to become increasingly distant from his wife and children. He began to neglect his family and spend more and more time with Kessinger. This put a strain on his marriage and created an environment in which violence could flourish. The criticisms were her failure to report. One of the main criticisms of Kessinger is that she failed to report Watts' suspicious behavior to the police. Kessinger has said that she did not believe that Watts was capable of violence. I mean, she said that, but then she said his cheese was falling off the cracker, and she was scared and she didn't sleep all that night. And anyway, but many people believe that she should have been more cautious, especially given the fact that Watts had a history of domestic violence. Now, what? Because he didn't. That's what I'm looking into. It has been reported to me behind the scenes that there are a few things, but it's never been reported that Chris had a history of domestic violence. So she continued the affair even though everyone believes that she knew. She had a lack of remorse. here it's saying that she cooperated. So let's skip forward to the aftermath. The aftermath of the murders of Shanann Bella and Celeste Watts have been profound and far-fetching. ChatGPT. Nichol Kessinger's involvement in the case has had a significant impact on her life as well. Okay, well then tell us. This is so ChatGPT. It just repeats the same sentences over in different ways. In the immediate aftermath of the murders, Kessinger was interviewed by police and provided them with a detailed account of her relationship with Watts and the events leading up to the murders. Okay, so this is telling us nothing. All right. We're just going to move on. 3 years ago, there was this channel, Cold Case with Colette. She came out and she said Nichol Kessinger is spotted in public for first time since the Watts family murders in Colorado. We're going to take a look at that. Oh, hi, Lindy. Yes, it's so cold in Michigan for you guys. My ex-mother-in-law was telling me that it was below zero. I'm like, she was 30 at the time. Oh, she was just 30. I thought she was just a little bit older. Do you know her birth date? I guess I have a video up, a tarot reading for Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts. I bet you in there that person says what the birth date is. Anyway, I don't think we're going to get to it tonight. I always pull up extra in case we get through things too fast. But I don't think we're going to get through things too fast. But anyway, here we have Nichol Kessinger is spotted in public for first time since the Watts family murders in Colorado.
Now, it has recently been reported this year that Chris Watts' mistress, Nichol Kessinger, has been spotted in public for the first time. She was seen in February 2021 at an unknown supermarket in Colorado.
Okay, so I think it's really strange that, how many women out there could possibly look like this woman right here? Just tons. Because even looking at that photo that I have of Kessinger in that sunflower dress, she looks just like one of my roommates in college. Just like her, when she was in her 20s, but just like her. And so she's very common. It's July 3rd. Oh, so she's a Cancer. Interesting. You guys with the facts. Thank you. So it was July 3rd or 4th. So what do you guys think? Does that look like Nichol Kessinger to you?
America. Now, what I find most shocking about this, if this is actually Nichol Kessinger that's been spotted, and I am going to include more photos for you so you can look at them and see what you think. I personally do think it's her. What I find most shocking is that she's still in Colorado. It's the same state where Chris Watts carried out the Watts.
Do you think that Nichol Kessinger is still in Colorado? Because I know there's been rumors that she went into the protection program, which I don't think she did. But I think she did change her name. There was court paperwork where she legally changed her name. But there's been reports that she's in Colorado. She's not, she hasn't really left. But I feel like with the connection she has with her dad, it would be very easy for her to go out into the desert somewhere and just kind of hang out. That's what I think she's doing.
Family murders, where he savagely brutally murdered his pregnant wife Shanann, who was pregnant with his unborn baby son Nico, and his two beautiful little girls, Celeste and Bella. How he could do that, I still can't get my head round. How Nichol Kessinger could find him attractive and fall in love with him, I can't get my head round either. But how Nichol Kessinger can think it's okay to go out in public, I know it's been 2.5 years since the murders, but I find it unbelievable. She doesn't look much different. She's still got a similar hairstyle, still wearing the same old sunglasses, and still wearing a very similar crossbody bag that you see her having.
This was the sticking point. I know that I saw a lot of creators, this crossbody bag, because this was the same crossbody bag that, or very similar one that, say this is not the same Nichol, this is a different woman. Nichol Kessinger had one of these crossbody bags in her one of her interviews. So there's that.
In the police interviews that's placed on the table in the police interrogation meetings that I've shared with all of you guys. Now, if this is Nichol Kessinger, why has she not changed her appearance? Why is her hair still the same color? Why is she still wearing the big bug sunglasses? Why is she still wearing the same style handbag? You know, wouldn't you at least dye your hair, cut your hair, change your hairstyle, not use the same type of handbag, maybe wear different sunglasses, give yourself a whole new look? If you don't want to be spotted in public.
I think I heard that one too, that she was in a small town. Debbie says, I heard on another channel she was in a small mining town with less than 100 people in Colorado, but who knows? NK's birthday, July 1988. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, so I've heard all of these things too. It would be interesting if do you think she's ever going to come out and do an interview? I think she could make some money. But I don't know. She might be really hated, like remember how when Casey Anthony has tried to come out. I just don't think she would be well received, but I do think that her book would be bought. Yeah, I would want to read it.
I really find it weird, if you're Nichol Kessinger, that you'd go out without a disguise on.
But would you find it weird? Because hold on, there's music for whatever reason here. Would you find it weird that Nichol Kessinger, who had so much balls to just like ride into her lover's house, in his wife's vehicle right into the garage and have a scene right in the driveway and just come over and visit and hang out in a home that he was sharing with his wife and children? I mean, she's pretty brazen. So yeah, I can see her going out in public.
I shared these photos and you've all had a good old look at them. What do you think? Do you think this is Nichol Kessinger? I know we can't be certain. I think it is. And what do you all think about the fact that she's not moved out of Colorado, that she's still living in the same state?
Yeah, I heard too that she was in Arizona. I hadn't heard Nevada, but I did hear some murmurings about Arizona. So 7/3/1988 is the definitive birthday. Second pick, definitely her. We have a few other picks that we're going to look at too. Let's move it forward. And I think
that Nichol has recently changed her name. It has taken her quite a long time.
So she's going to talk a little bit about Nichol changing her name now.
Time to go through the process of changing her name, but she is now not known as Nichol Kessinger. What she is known as, I don't know. But what we can say is that she's still.
And I have actually, it's on the tip of my tongue. I think I've read what her last name now is, and it's something ironic, but I can't remember it. It's been a while since I've covered this case, which it's been like a month or something since I covered this case. So I do lose some of the intense details that I amaze myself that I can hold in my head about people that I don't even know. So
we think not certain, not 100% certain, but we think she's still living in the Colorado area. How awful. I'm pretty certain that Shanann's family didn't live in Colorado. They lived in a different state in America. So thankfully for them, they don't have to be anywhere near the woman.
Yeah, Nichol.
That's people of Colorado.
Yes. Yes. The Miller name. I thought that was very ironic if it's true, because the Millers were the ones that bought the house, that had the domestic that happened, that have since sold the house. And I was trying to figure out, like, have we figured out who, because I know they sold the house, but I'm keeping an eye out. I have not seen who has bought it yet. So I am keeping an eye out for that.
For friends of Shanann and friends of her children, Celeste and Bella, that lived in the local area, it must be really awful to know that you could be out at your local supermarket buying your weekly food shop and Nichol Kessinger walks past you. I mean, God, it'd be pretty awful if that happened, wouldn't it? So guys,
I don't think it would be awful. I'd do a double take and then I'd come up and I'd like, I don't know. I would want to know. So I would just be like, are you Nichol Kessinger? I just would. Okay, so let's keep going. I did want to show you the live that I did. I often will take my lives, because that live that I was talking about that we did, it was a 3 hour and 40-minute live. But then I will often take the lives and cut them down into manageable videos for you guys. And later took that live and put it down into a 26 from, 3 hours and 40 minutes to a 26 minute video. So, but in it, we did take a look at some more pictures of possible NK sightings.
Correctional institution.
Hold on. I do want to warn you that the bird was awake during this live, so you might hear him a little bit.
Okay. Let's move on. And we went into this Reddit where it's fine.
So this was in a Reddit that I found. Man, why can't I see
Reddit where
that picture?
It's fine, Nichol Kessinger. And there were some photos of her that I came across in here. But okay, this was the one I wanted to look at. Sorry if this is old news. I'm new to the app, but old to following this case. This info all comes from our own social media page that is currently active from 2020 up to a few days ago. I hesitate to openly link it, as directing more attention or hate to the page may cause her to remove it completely. She also has a Twitter account. I haven't tried to look for it. I don't know her. I have no business knowing any of this info. It's really my only way of coping with this case sometimes, and none of this was difficult for me to find off of Google. She doesn't go by any new, different, or other names. She was never in witness protection. She was identifying with Nicole Sophia Miller for time, but stated in multiple posts that she has no reason to actually change her name, as she states she is innocent. She lives in a nice-looking neighborhood in South Maryland, and she works WFH customer service for Sheen. She has a huge rock on her ring finger. Haven't tried to look into who, and guys, take this with a grain of salt because this isn't proven. This is just hearsay. She has a huge rock on her ring finger. Haven't tried to look into who her partner is, but just because I'm a freak, I did note the Aldi that they shop at. She talks about gardening recipes, her nails, her mood, overcoming anxiety, normal stuff. Definitely some odd posts at times, but they do seem to be honest to her. In June 2023, she wrote about her experience and devastation of loss of twin girls in utero. Obviously, this is horrible to experience, no matter who it is, what you believe they did or did not do, but I can't not notice how absolutely bone-chilling it is NK starting over two little girls and lose them in the aftermath of. Photos from 2021 very much appear to show the physical signs in the face and body of hard drug usage. As other people here have mentioned before, she has stated more recently that she is sober and physically appears to be sober. She discussed having substance abuse issues, depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. She does strike me as someone who would have borderline personality disorder, if that's true. Regardless of our thoughts on any kind of involvement of hers, she has.
I grew up in a family full of borderline personalities, so I can kind of spot that shit a mile away.
Experienced some level of trauma from CW, and of course the aftermath appears to be working, which at the end of the day is a positive. Wouldn't it be amazing if she fully came forward someday? Unfortunately, we may never know the real truthful story of those two, but thankfully CW's chapter is permanently closed, and I personally will be keeping an eye out for what happens in NK's. That's most of what I have on her new life. Whether you think she's a villain or victim, knowing she gets to live free in this very dark shadow that she will likely never exit doesn't give much satisfaction or comfort either way. I think that that's a lot of why some of us just cannot put this one down. Let me know what you think. And then people come and say, there's no proof that the book of likes page is legit NK. I don't really buy into that being her form of social media as much as some person out there baiting. Yeah.
So, and then we go on, and I will, of course, link this live if you want to see what else I read on that Reddit. But then we go on in this Reddit, and there are some photos that we see. Now, this upsets a lot of people, these photos. I don't understand why they upset people. But I get a lot of negative comments. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is your opinion about me showing photos of a woman that is on a Nichol Kessinger Reddit page that people are identifying as Nichol Kessinger, possibly? It really, some people are very interested in it. Like, I'm very interested, and some people are just like really offended by it. And I guess this is one of those things where people will say to me, like, get over the Watts case, stop talking about it. And it's like, well, I'll get over it when I'm over it. If you're over it, you're over it. Like, I'm glad you're on your journey, but this is the journey that I'm on. So what do you guys think? And do you think this looks like Nichol Kessinger?
It's too big. I can't see it. There we go. What do you guys think? Does that look like her to you? I mean, it does. If she were to have gained some weight.
Definitely, if she gains some weight, it looks like
Looks like it would be the right age too. But like I said, we all have doppelgangers. We really do. Here's another one. This one looks more like her, in my opinion, than that other one. I'll try to get it bigger for you guys.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that have weighed in on that photo, and it all goes down to the teeth, I think, Debbie. Some people say, like, they study. Like, I've even had dental people say, like, yeah, no, it's her, or it is her. So I don't know. I don't know if it's her or not. It's for me to say. And I'm also not good at taking things spatially and putting them together. Like, hand-eye coordination's horrible. And when you have to do those tests where you have to put diagrams together without putting, like, just by looking at them, I cannot do it. So I'm really bad at that. She said in a police interview, how can you hurt someone this big with their hand signals? How tall is Bella? How can she know the height of Bella? She claims she never met them. Yeah, that's true. How did she know how tall Bella was? She met Bella, I'm sure of it. I am just getting over. Oh, it kicked your hiney too. Yeah, well, I was just saying that I heard the Rucheks, it kicked their butts out in North Carolina. So they're just starting to feel better. I was really happy to see Sandy did a live. Sandy has suffered. I can tell she's really suffered. So I have huge empathy. Well, I was just thinking, can you imagine having your daughter and your grandchildren just wiped out, and then people blaming you for it, and the horrible things that have been said about them? I just can't. And then trying to heal from it. Ugh. Yeah. So, but I'm glad you're feeling better. She's 100% involved. Wow, it really does look like her. Yeah. I think these people that have found these photos are pretty interesting. I think someone said that the super sleuthing is great. So thank you for saying that. That makes me feel really good. And I just think that the people who have found these, it's pretty amazing too. So, okay, so let's go back, and that one's smaller. So this is the other one that people were saying was her. Is that any better? I think it looks like her if she weren't to gain weight, like if she were to be like a crunchy mama. That this is like a healthy crunch mama. What are they called? Crunchy moms? Butter moms or something like that. I think that's what she would look like. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Let me take myself. Let me rearrange the screen a little bit to make it even better. I never got it any better. Up, and it does. So here is another one of her. This one's really hard to see, but this one later I got word from that this artist replied, and she said, no, that's not me. So here's another picture slightly better of that one with the teeth that everybody talks about. Is it her or isn't it her? People say the teeth are the same, and some people say the teeth are different. But the head isn't, like, you can't even see the bottom teeth. So, I mean, what do you guys think? And I guess maybe, like, if someone would measure too, I guess you could measure. I don't know. There's a science to this, and I'm not the scientist who can do this. Look at her eyebrows too. Her eyebrows are way bigger than these, but these look like they've been plucked quite a bit. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, so let's keep going. There were rumors that right after this happened that Nichol Kessinger was still writing Watts, and there was an author who is a known plagiarizer, so take what she says with a grain of salt as well. But she says that Nichol Kessinger was writing to Chris.
While we're on the subject while we're on the subject of
well, let me see what you guys are saying. There is some similarity, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, I have a hard time telling. Why Cindy never ever complained about NK. Yeah, it's so strange how she never complains about NK. I think they have each other's dark secrets. Yeah, I think it's just so strange how they never talk about NK. Eyebrows are different. I was thinking, what did Dave say? Let me go up further. Let's ask new President Trump to order investigate NK involving 2 beautiful little children and an unborn baby. We're going to take a look at that at the end, though. We're going to look at what it would take to open up this trial again. In my mind, this case is not closed. NK had a part in this. I don't understand why more people are not outraged by this. I don't either. I don't understand why more people aren't. I like the idea, Dave. Isn't there a petition out there? Yes, there is a petition out there to have him removed. And then there's a thing that I found on reopening the case. Somebody asked some lawyers how that could happen. So, okay, so this is, be sure to give this live a thumbs up, guys. Helps me go out into the algorithm. And if you like my Watts content, if you could share it, that would be also really helpful.
Nikki, I believe he said in his interview to the police when they came up to the prison to talk with him that he wondered whether some of the letters that he was receiving, if maybe that one was Nichol Kessinger. Did he elaborate on that more?
He did. He would talk about wondering if she was writing to him like in a code or something. And he had one person that was writing him from Kauai, and he doesn't know who she was or how she got interested in him, but she would write him letters and write things on postcards that was just like they knew each other almost. And she would talk about, I don't know what this has to do with anything, but she would talk about banana bread a lot.
Sounds like I put 2 years on all of them. Sorry, guys.
Banana bread is kind of a staple in Hawaii. I don't know why that was a big issue for him. And she kept writing about that, about the banana bread. So he was wondering if it was a code for something, if she wrote to him in a code. And her name was Laurel, I think was her name. I saw a couple of the postcards that he had written, or she had written him. But he was always wondering if she's going to contact him, how she still feels about him, and if she will eventually show up in his life,
Yeah.
Delusional, I think.
Somewhat, yeah. Now, did he say how many people he had writing him while he's been in prison?
Oh my, he has a fan base. I'm going to tell you, at one point, he was getting dozens of letters a day, and that has backed off some, but he does get a lot of mail. And it's funny because I started realizing he is so regimented with the way he does things that he was calling me on certain days. So if he didn't get a hold of me, he wouldn't try the next day. He had to wait until the next appointed time to call me. And not that we agreed to any certain day, because we didn't. He could call whenever he wanted to. But he has so many people that he was calling and so many people that he is writing to that he has to schedule it out, who he writes today and who he calls today. Just bizarre that he cares so much about what people think of him, that the fact that he's got this fan base is really important to him. That, he has these women that love him, and another set of women that just minister to him, and basically kind of a girlfriend that he's got.
Has he had
bizarre.
other women who are potential love interests come and see him?
There's one that seems to have a real interest in him. I've asked her point blank.
So Chris supposedly thought that NK has written to him here and there throughout the years, but I mean, do you think she's written to him? I don't know. I can't really say if I believe that she would be so bold as to write to him, but maybe she would be so bold to write to him because she's got something over him to remind him that, hey, a knock, 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 I'm still out here. You better keep my name out of your mouth. Although he also said to Dylan that she was the Jezebel mistress, and his son started blaming everything on it. So, I mean, maybe that theory is out the door too. So who knows? Do you guys think that she would actually go as far as to write to him? I'm not sure if she would be that bold, but I kind of think like if she were trying to control him, that she would write to him. So let's take a look at the Denver Post. So right after Chris Watts was sentenced, Nichol Kessinger went to the Denver Post, and this is the only interview she has ever given. Christopher Watts' girlfriend speaks to police in record interview released by Weld County DA. This was the professional photos that she had done. Nichol Kessinger on November 15th, 2018 in Denver. Kessinger said Chris Watts told her he was finishing up divorce proceedings with his wife, and that a month into the relationship, he told her the divorce was final. The woman who started dating Christopher Watts in the months before he unalived his wife and two young daughters told police she believed Watts could have committed the crimes whether she was in his life or not. An audio recorded police interview and court documents show. Nichol Kessinger started dating Christopher Watts in late June after they met at work. Watts told her that he was in the process of finalizing a divorce with his wife, while in reality they had not even discussed separating. She approached police about her relationship with Watts after he acted strange and avoided her questions after his family was reported missing on August 13th. She told the Denver Post in a November 15th interview. In the August 16th interview, she told police that her being in his life may have accelerated the process of his crimes, but she did not believe Watts snapped. She thought the family's financial situation was the biggest factor in Watts' killing his family. Do you think the money situation was the biggest factor? I think it was a huge factor. The Weld County District Attorney Office released an audio recording of the interview Thursday. Kessinger told police that she did not see any red flags with Watts, and she was shocked that he unalived his family. A summary of a separate interview she had with police shows she said she did not understand how Watts thought that he could just unalive his family and that everything would be okay. She recognized that many people would blame her for the deaths of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, but Kessinger said she thought he could have committed such a crime whether she was in his life or not. I legitimately think his cheese was sliding off his cracker long before he met me, Kessinger told police. Which, I mean, she contradicts herself. around every corner. No, he was fine. No, his cheese was sliding. No, I felt safe around him. No, his cheese was sliding. Kessinger told police that she deleted all information about Watts from her phone because she was grossed out by him. Just gag me with a spoon. According to the police interviews, she only told one friend and her father about her relationship with Watts. Watts and Kessinger casually discussed a future together, but in text with a friend the day before Watts unalived his family, Kessinger said she hadn't made her mind up on him yet. Being in your life is something I crave, Watts texted Kessinger on July 1st, shortly after they became physically intimate. Oh, that's right. He gave her a birthday card, too, in July. I should have known that her birthday was in July. Kessinger said in her interview with the Post that she knew that Watts was married, but said that he told her that he was separated from his wife. She said that Watts told her in July that his divorce had been finalized. Kessinger visited Watts' family home twice over the summer, according to her interviews with police. Kessinger's first interview with the FBI was not video recorded. Oh, so it was the first interview that wasn't recorded. According to the documents in the case file, Kessinger was fired from her job at Tasman Geosciences, a contractor with Anadarko Petroleum, on August 22nd. According to case documents, Kessinger told the Post earlier this month that she had not had any contact with Watts since August 14th. Dang it. He grosses me out. His cheese slid off his cracker, and I think he's disgusting. It's also odd we never got to see any of the texts from Text Tuesday between them. I know that's very odd. I know she deleted hers, but Watts didn't delete his. Why haven't we why didn't we see more off of Chris's phone? That's what I never understood, if he didn't delete stuff. The only information she would have got from Chris, who would have said anything to keep her. Diana, I have always, what did Diana say? NK is much prettier in the professional photographs that she had done in the Denver Post than she actually was. Yeah, they definitely photoshopped. She was somebody that you could tell she's going to have wrinkles. She wasn't taking care of her skin. You could tell. The only information she would have got from Chris, who, I already read that, sorry. Diana, I always thought that too. They made her look way prettier than she actually did. Yeah. Okay, so this is the final thing that we are going to take a look at. This is Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, and she talks about Chris Watts now blaming Jezebel Mistress on Schmurders. So wanted to take a look at that. We couldn't end it with Chris doing his complete flip-flop. Oh, wait. Actually, do I want to end it with this, or do I want to end it with the law thing? We'll end it with the law question, the legal question, and this will be the second to the last thing.
With the horrific events of August 13th, 2018. To me, in my opinion, the circumstantial evidence is undeniable. A neighbor said they saw a truck that looked like Nichol Kessinger's at Shanann's home in the early hours of August 13th, 2018. At the same time, Nichole's phone pinged a tower near Shanann's house. She lived 25 minutes away and had no reason to be there. Obviously, the most damaging is the fact that Nichol has no alibi for the time of the murders. She also, frighteningly, Googled how much Amber Fry's net worth was. Amber Fry was the mistress of Peterson. She thought she was just the girlfriend. She had no clue. Who was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson. What a bizarre thing.
Hey, Cowboy RC, it's good to see you.
To be Googling in the midst of all of this chaos. I think a lot of people are still invested in this case because with Nichol free to live her life unbothered, they feel like there is no justice for Shanann, Nico, Bella, and Celeste. We dissect some of Christopher Watts' deranged scribble and Nicole's potential involvement with journalist Ted Rollins.
So this
Ted Rollins, Court TV anchor and victim to verdict host.
This I thought was interesting because she actually interviews someone. So this is why I wanted to take a peek at this.
This week, I want to talk to you about one of my, there is no justice for Shanann, Nico, Bella, and Celeste. We dissect some of Christopher.
Sorry, guys. Something's going on with my internet. It just keeps popping itself back a few seconds.
Watts' deranged scribble and Nicole's potential fact that there was a baby on the way that Shanann was ecstatic about. Did you cover this case from the very beginning? Was this, were you involved when this was just a missing person case?
I was covering it from afar. I wasn't on the ground there, but this was one of those cases that instantly was the old missing person turning into a horrible murder. But you're right. I actually just reading this, the latest news out of it, was reminded that she was pregnant, and it does add this weird other layer that the first time around, maybe you're not appreciating it because you're thinking about those little ones being murdered by their father. But yes, it from his perspective, from what he did, it adds a whole other dimension into the disgusting nature of it. And now, of course, it's taken even a grosser turn with his own behavior, which you could expect.
I know. I mean, I'm not surprised by this guy.
That's interesting. I mean, that's basically what happened to Casey Anthony, isn't it?
Anymore. And I'm not necessarily interested in some of the things he's said. I don't want to spend too much time revisiting The Cell Next Door, this new book series that's giving us a little insight into the muddled mind of Christopher Watts. I have noticed that it seems like he blames every woman in his life instead of accepting any sort of responsibility or acknowledging that he's a monster. But tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like these updated words that we're getting from Christopher, there's a new tone when it comes to Nicole, his mistress. And there is so much speculation online and honestly anger online over the fact that more wasn't done to investigate her potential part. We'll say nobody's ever charged her with anything. I think that that's worth acknowledging. No one's ever charged her with anything, especially not these murders. But really suspicious behavior around the time of this disappearance, around the time of the inevitable acknowledgement of death. And he really tried to protect her up until now when we're seeing these words where
Yeah, she definitely changed her name because I do remember Scott reporting on it, but I didn't know that he went to the hearing and got kicked out. That's very interesting to know. Thank you for sharing that, Christina. Texting your friend, not make her mind up yet, is for her own face in case Chris doesn't divorce Shanann. Yeah, that was to save face. You believe it was planned? And darken the bedroom, I assume, if they were in bed. I will never forget in his prison interview, he said, I could see the mascara running down her face. Sounds like someone standing in front of a person a few feet away, not on top of her. And I remember seeing that video that somebody did of the pillowcase with her mascara on it, and it's hard. It's hard.
He's calling her a Jezebel and saying she gave him an ultimatum, and this is coming from The Cell Next Door, which was written by Dylan Tolman. Am I trying to read too much into Chris's words when it comes to Nicole, because I do think that her behavior was so strange?
It's a tough leap to make. I understand why you're doing it, but I would caution you that typically in these situations, you need someone who is over the top, insane, evil, horrible, you name the adjectives. And we have that with Chris Watts. The collateral, the people around an individual like that, you can look at and with a little side eye and you wonder, but let's face it, this guy is the worst of the worst in terms of what he did, how he did it, the lies he told after he did it, trying to blame his wife, saying that she killed the kids and he just got mad and strangled her. I mean, he is so demented. And now even listening to his words, it takes it to another level where, again, he's blaming his behaviors because he was triggered by his wife who was so mean to him. I mean, it's him. It's him. And I would caution you not to get two.
Don't caution me too much because I have more along the.
All right, keep it coming. Maybe I'll be all in with you by the end of this.
All right, so
he's not quite on board with the conspiracies yet. You can tell, but it will be interesting to see if she gets him on board.
Like I said, this is Dylan Tallman, who was a fellow inmate and a former friend mate, really, at the Wisconsin prison. And they were working.
By the way, this prison in Waupun, Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin. So this was always, when you're young, you hear about the prison in your state and it's kind of scary. Yeah. This was my scary, well, I never want to be sent to Waupun for anything. So this place is it's no fun to be there. I'll tell you.
Oh, that's so interesting. Like one of the original questions I'd written down, but I removed it because I thought it was a stupid question. Was I thought this guy is a national known kind of monster. So to move him from Colorado to Wisconsin, I mean, is that really? And now you're telling me that this is a really scary prison. Is he safer in Wisconsin than he would have been in Colorado?
Probably not, but by moving him for safety reasons, they can say they did everything they could to ensure his safety. Because let's face it, initially he was the most hated man. I think
he is. I would say that he is safer and that he's at least getting fed. I mean, because he wasn't getting fed in Colorado. So
in the U.S. there for a while, so there was a target on his head. You move him out of state, there's less notoriety within that.
He was getting fed, but the prisoners were preventing him from eating. So
population, they're checking boxes, really.
No, that's interesting. When it comes to this book they were working on, this prayer book, Chris pulls out. Dylan decides to turn this into really, a trash, whatever you want to call this, the cell next door. I was under the impression that inmates couldn't monetize off of their crimes. What was the purpose or scheme here? And I have no idea. This was a terrible idea is a perfectly acceptable answer.
Well, each state is different in terms of monetizing after your crime. So if you spent time in prison and you are reporting on what you saw with other inmates and their crimes, then there is an opportunity for you to write that. People are interested in prison life inherently. So I think that he's able to do this because he's not monetizing on his crime necessarily. He didn't end up there because of Chris Watts, but he encountered him and he's taken advantage of it.
Good point. Watts told another inmate named David Carter that he killed Shanann because he didn't want to pay child support. He didn't want the son that she was expecting, total jerk, and feared his wife would take their home in Colorado in a divorce. Some argue he was purely driven by lust for Nichol Kessinger. Can't it be both?
Absolutely. And in a lot of cases, it is both. Like Corey Richins going on right now. She killed her husband, allegedly poisoned him, but there was a financial issue there too. She wanted money. She didn't want him, and she had a lover that she wanted to spend her time with. So I think the one who killed the kids, that she strangled them, and then he strangled her, and then of course they find the bodies of the kids at his workplace. And that
was like a really clever trick by the cops because he was giving them nothing. He failed a polygraph, and then they said, "What we're going to do is we're going to suggest that maybe Shanann did it, and this was just a reaction to Shanann being the monster." And that was just like a little piece of cheese to see.
I wouldn't call it a clever trick. I mean, it's just something that all investigators do. There were a lot of holes in this investigation. So
he would, and I mean, and just he fell for it. Like, what an idiot.
Totally. Yeah. Oh, total idiot. And a lot of these people are idiots because you have to be to go through with this, with a distorted view of the world where you think you can get away with it. That no one's going to notice that your wife and kids are dead and you're going to be able to save your house because she was going to take your house. Well, guess what? Your house is gone, your family is gone, and you're gone. You're off to Waupun, Wisconsin for the rest of your life. It's so infuriating because those three children never had an opportunity to live. And Shanna was dealing with a monster that she likely didn't realize. She was probably oblivious to the danger right there in her home. She just thought he was a lackey and a horrible husband and father, but I guarantee she had no idea that this was possible.
I know, and so sad because she was trying to make it work until the very end. And that's what devastates me the most because she was so driven by love and so driven by the love of their new baby that was coming. So
okay, let me see if they say anything else about NK.
She chose to delete her iMessages off of her phone involving Chris just during the missing person investigation. She doesn't, we assume she doesn't know they're deceased, and she's deleting this really important evidence off of her phone. And on August 14th, made a later deleted Google search for "Can cops trace text messages?" Suspicious. And in some of her interrogation interviews, She's been described as evasive or deceptive, including claiming memory loss about a 111-minute phone call with Chris on August 12th, hours before the homicides are believed to have taken place. She was interviewed about a 111-minute phone call approximately 72 hours later, and she doesn't remember what the topics of that phone conversation were. Don't you think that's strange?
Yeah, no, it is. It is strange. So maybe she had an inkling. I don't think that she was running the ship, and I don't think she was telling him, "Hey, you should kill him." But you're right. There's that. Not remembering a phone call of that length at all is the only reason you don't remember it is because you don't want to elaborate on it.
You don't want. Okay, well, I'm not done. So get your seatbelt on. She also claimed she was unaware of Shanann's pregnancy until August 13th, 2018, the day the victims were reported missing. But she is known to have Googled her public Facebook, which had numerous pregnancy-related posts. And as you know, one of the things that made this case so fascinating was the fact that Christopher's life was documented so heavily by his wife on social media. Apparently, he was resentful about that. But I mean, more than most people, I'd almost, not in a negative way, but I'd say almost she overshared. And I have a hard time believing that Chris didn't think about how jarring her absence would be from her social media community. She can't just disappear. I mean, where was his head there?
Yeah, I mean, please. Well, first of all, she's got a job.
I don't think his head was anywhere. He was doing drugs. He was in an affair. He was doing drugs. He was doing that Thrive Lavelle, whatever that stuff was, and he was double, tripling, patching up on that. He was making himself crazy.
She has a huge network that she's built up, not only online, but in the community. I mean, she is running the show. And he obviously had some resentment because his wife sounds like she was on fire and she was very driven. And
ambitious,
when you're with someone who's very driven.
Hey there, Princess Elsa.
And maybe you're not as driven, that can be a problem. I'm sure that was an issue in their marriage. And I get that. And I'm sure, again, before he gets the girlfriend, he's probably along for the ride. Like, honey, we'll do this, and I'll get my Pittsburgh Steelers uniform on, and we'll do a photo. But now he's got a girlfriend. So to your point, is it the two of them concocting something, or is it just him? And I have to believe, just for my own sanity, so I can sleep at night, that there are very few people like him on this earth walking around, and that if you throw her in too, then that adds to the list, and I don't like that. So I am convinced it's just him, but I get what you're saying, that she might have known that something was coming, that he was leaving her maybe, or some BS that he told her in his 111-minute phone call. I don't know. I mean, you raised some good points.
I think a lot of us feel that way. Like, we feel like, for our own sanity, like, just conspiracy theory. But I think in truth, the world is opening up, and we're seeing more and more that these conspiracy theories aren't really all conspiracy theories. Like, the world is a dangerous, deep, dark place. I heard a lawyer say today, they said something like, if the world knew how dangerous people were out in the world, that they would just stay in and lock their doors and arm themselves. And I thought to myself, isn't that what people are already doing? Are we already doing that? Because we're coming to the realization that the world is pretty terrifying. But over on the law, this person asked, they said, I have a question, and this was in February 5th, 2024. I had a question in regards to what does it take to reopen a murder case that's closed. Specifically, I'm referring to the Chris Watts. Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters. He is in jail, but his mistress is under major suspicion. Murder case. I heard only the district attorney DA could open the case, but I'm wondering if there's any way in Colorado legal system, for example, could the victim family somehow get it reopened? Could someone hire a lawyer to take it to court with new evidence to try and get the case reopened? Or is it really only up to the DA? Just curious all the way it's possible to reopen. Thank you. And an Army judge replied, he says, they say, to accomplish what you asked, anyone can hire an attorney in an effort to reopen the case. But what would that accomplish? If a person or persons was were convicted of unaliving a human being, the incarcerated individual might be able to get the case retried if she successfully appeal his conviction. I doubt that relatives of the deceased would be successful in having the case retried. I don't think the rechecks think that she had any part in it, so I don't think they would ever do it. Someone has been convicted of the foul deed, so why would anyone wish to fight for the convicted unaliver to have rights at the apple? I mean, why would you fight for justice when somebody else has already been taken to justice? Why would you go for full justice when you've got partial justice? That's what I'm reading. Is that what you're reading? Discussing the paths to reopening a Schmurder conviction would be boring, useless, idiotic task. Why? What you wish to know can easily be accomplished by an internet search. Well, isn't that a special person that replied to that one? Tax counsel said, no, not in Colorado or most other states. You'd need to persuade the DA to reopen the case. That's usually going to take coming up with new evidence that the DA does not already have. DAs in Colorado don't close murder cases due to costs like they do for some minor offenses. The primary reason a DA closes a murder case without prosecution is that the case the DA has is just not strong enough to take to a jury. The DA needs to be pretty confident of the case he or she has, because if they take the suspect to trial and lose, no, I really think this was a money issue in Colorado. That suspect may not ever be tried again for their crime. In other words, the DA only gets a shot at it. So I don't think this person knows the full extent of this case, because they were just throwing Chris a bone because he didn't want to go on death row, which death row doesn't exist in Colorado anymore. This person says, quick follow-up question. In the Chris Watts case, Chris was sent to jail for this crime. However, his mistress, Nichol Kessinger, was never charged with any crime at the time. Since then, a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to her involvement. Tons of people went to the DA to reopen the case as evidence seems to point to her involvement in some way, and justice wasn't done. The DA has come out and said he would not reopen the case. That's why I was curious to see if the DA is the only path to reopen the case. The DA is the sole path to getting this done. From your answer, this appears to be the case, correct? And thanks again. This person said, Thankx can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if there was now significant evidence to try someone else for the same crime, the solution would not be to reopen the case on Watts, but to open a case on the other individual. And this person says, reopen for what purpose? The specific case you mentioned involved the unaliving, taking a plea bargain. The case isn't going to be reopened. Members of the family of a crime victim or alleged victim have no standing to do anything. The only people with standing are the defendant and the state. Yeah, I mean, DA Rourke really tried to make us think that the reason why he didn't take the case to trial was because didn't put Chris on death row was because that the Ruchecks didn't want it. Come on. And he's got a bridge he's selling too, I'm sure. Tax counsel says, if by reopen the case, you mean starting up investigation and possible prosecution of Nichol, that would not violate the Fifth Amendment or the Sixth Amendment, Sixth Amendment. But it's still the case that the decision is up to the DA. It's not up to the public to prosecute her, nor may they force the DA to do so. The public often puts more weight on things that in a courtroom would not matter much. The prosecutor has to decide whether to pursue charges or not based on the evidence that is admissible in court. Most of what the public hears by way of rumors, speculation, or statements by someone not directly involved in the incident is typically not admissible. So, sounds like we need to get DA Rourke out. I looked that up once for AD years ago. if it could be reopened. Yep, totally not fair. The women always get the most shade. The daggers just go in that direction. Her destroying the evidence should have gotten her a charge from the beginning. Exactly, Jessica. Why didn't it? Ugh. How would Bella know something was wrong with mommy in a dark bedroom at 4 a.m., right? The only time Chris ever admitted to being angry was when Bella caught him on a live SW. Is that the only time? I am looking into seeing if there was abuse by Chris to the girls, and it seems like there was abuse prior to this that we're going to look at. Oh, Princess. Oh, Cat's Life. Hi, I have not seen you in so long. Hey, Mama. I missed you. Got it now. Got that in the old mindset. Cat's Life is now Princess Elsa. I think this one with the hat looks like NK. You must be a little bit behind. Other cases always do cross-examination simultaneously of main suspects, Chris and NK, to compare their story, but not this Chris Watts case. Very unprofessional, right? Not this case. Nay. Let me make sure I put everything up that I wanted to show you guys tonight. Yep, I did get everything. Let's see if I have any notes. Okay, nope, that's all I have. Again, welcome to all the new members. If you like my channel over on YouTube, please consider becoming a Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is our membership program. I have a little something that will tell you a little bit about it. If you are interested in becoming a Dragonfly member, we would love to have you. And here is who the Dragonflies are. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a Dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my Dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the Dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you. Okay, and there is the link if you want to become a Dragonfly. All right, guys. So I'm going to go. I hope everybody is staying warm, staying safe. The world is crazy out there. And yeah, welcome to 2025. If you have any Watts content that you want me to create for you, feel free to email me. My email is right there down on the ticker, parawomenradio@gmail.com. Okay, guys, if nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly. Deep in the heart